The original script was one of the best scripts I'd ever read. You know, I was honored that I was brought on to bring my sensibilities to it. And it was definitely a genre that I love dearly. I love nothing more than monster movies and kaiju films and alien horror movies, anything in that genre. I'm always interested and always on the look for. And it's so rare to find a original science fiction IP these days. And one that was done so well and that was so focused on character. So those are the things that really attracted me to the project. And, you know, like I said, Duffield's script was brilliant. And I was just so happy to be a part of it and bring my thing to it. And this was definitely written pre-COVID by quite a bit and made pre-COVID and finished pre-COVID. So we find ourselves though in a time when clearly it seems like it was written last week, I think. I mean, it is about people living underground, disconnected from their family and their friends and their romantic partners, and dealing with loneliness and isolation. And it is a story about a character who says, enough is enough, and I would rather, you know, I would rather risk my life than live underground forever. Now, obviously, that is not a message that I want to spread in terms of people's precautions and safety regarding COVID. But I think it is a relatable feeling we can all agree is aspirational, in that we would love nothing more to throw off the shackles of quarantine and run to whoever it is that we miss, whether it's a family member or you know, an ex-girlfriend in this case for Joel, or anybody, and just have that human connection, and how and I think we're all been reminded how important those human connections are, and how integral they are to just the human experience. To me, my goal was to make sure that this movie always stuck the landing of a search of self-discovery. I wanted Joel's journey to be for love, but really become a journey for him to learn to love himself. So by the time he does or does not get to Amy's colony, I want him to be faced with the question of, why did I take this journey? Was it for the destination, or was it for the necessary things about myself I would learn? And of course, you can't learn to be your best self without others as well. And so this journey is one in which he meets a whole slew of unexpected people, animals, robots. And through those people, he is given the tools he needs to unlock the best version of himself. And so while love is a wonderful goal, I really hope that this is, and it's a lesson I feel like I haven't seen enough in these types of movies, especially in genre pictures, but also in romantic comedies or even in just love stories, is that yes, love is a wonderful goal, but you're not going to have the tools for love until you really learn to love yourself. And so this whole movie to me, and why I was really drawn to it, is I want to make that movie for my 18-year-old self who needed to be told, no one will complete you. Get out there and find yourself and learn to love yourself, and then maybe that person will appear and you'll be ready for them. Brian came up with so many wonderful monsters. We had a huge selection of them to choose from and sort of pare down to our favorite ones. And then of course I got to be involved in the you know, the actual design and production of these monsters with Michael Matthews as well, and figuring out sort of the right tone between inhuman, but I mean, because these monsters are mutated, cold-blooded creatures, so they're not alien, right? They're from our planet, but they have been wildly mutated and become terrifying. So we wanted it to always feel like they were real, and wanted them to feel like they were of our planet, but they needed to be genre and exciting. And you know, when they come on screen, you've got to feel like Joel, who is assuming every single time he sees a monster, he has 6 seconds to live. How do we keep them exciting and fantastical enough and scary enough to feel like a real threat, while at the same time, you know, always making it about Joel. Joel's the center of every creature fight. It's every fight with a creature in the movie can be broken down to a lesson Joel is learning, and sort of a video game terminology, like he levels up with each monster, right? He learns a new thing. So at first it's just don't freeze up and get eaten. So, you know, at first then he learns, okay, get woken up. And the dog is the first step in doing that for him. It allows him to learn how to sort of break that freeze issue he has. And then it's, you know, fight for your life. And then it's actually get a little better at it. And then you become a kick-ass monster killer. But, you know, he had to level up slowly. So we always came at the monster fights from what can we throw at him that feels like he's going to die, but also has a chance for him to learn something every time. To me, it was always, there was definitely a John Hughes meets Romero kind of feel here. I wanted, you know, I wanted a big, actual terrifying world. I wanted an apocalypse that felt real, you know, and sort of, you know, Romero, his zombie world always felt very real and very actually terrifying. But the characters were grounded, and they were dealing with it how you would sort of deal with it. So those were touchstones to me. But the tone then was very much, I mean, you know, it's impossible not to look at John Hughes when you're trying to write real teenagers, you know, when you're trying to write real emotion and real stories of transformation from, you know, late teens, early 20s. You know, that there's few people who've ever done better writing in the space of the transition to adulthood than John Hughes. And so that was obviously a huge touchstone for us. Genre is my world. I mean, so I've seen them all. You know, from everything from, you know, 1950s, you know, Gomorrah pictures to, you know, I mean, Alien is obviously impossible to get away from in a movie like this, and the world Ridley Scott built is always going to be there. But yeah, I mean, kaiju movies, monster movies, alien movies, those are my bread and butter. So that's the easy part, is dipping into that world and you know, and Brian did such a great job of making it feel like you could sort of take what you wanted from the genres, you know, whether it's characters with samurai swords or crossbows and, you know, giant monsters, and there's obviously, you know, a Tarantino-esque playing with, you know, the picking and choosing what you want from the world of genre cinema and having fun with it and remixing it to your needs. I think I just would hang out in the pool all day, relaxing, trying to hide, and waiting for a little snack to walk by. And I just stick my tongue out and pull you into the pool and then go back to sleep for a couple more days. I think I'd be a very lazy monster.